Just for anyone that doesn't know, take me through kind of who you all are in the band and what your roles are in the band.
Okay. Mike, I'm the vocalist.
I'm Dan, I play the cajon, or cajones. No, I'm just kidding, I play drums. Andrew, I play bass.
Phil, guitar.
Max, lead guitar.
Awesome. And then I did a little bit of research, and to my knowledge, Phil and Mike, you guys have been in the band since 2006, correct?
So I wouldn't say we were a band back then. I would say Deadtide like officially started in like 2015. That was when we first met. We were like, we jammed for years or whatever, and then finally when we found some people to put a band together, that's when we really started like, hitting the road running.
So kind of just talking through how like the band came to be, how you guys found each other and formed what is now Deadtide.
So, I mean, we first met in college. Like I reached out to him on Facebook. I saw that he liked metal and metalcore. And from there, hit him up. He came over. I think back then I was looking like Dave Grohl, not so much anymore, but he came over, we were jamming and stuff. And it was just like, we vibed and wrote well together. So, I mean, that stuff's still on YouTube. You can still find it, which is pretty cool. It's like a time capsule. But, I mean, yeah, from there, we were just kind of like, we made it through college. And then after that, it was more, I don't know. We had like, what was it, like the three of us?
Yeah, it was me, you, and our old guitarist before Max joined, Glenn. And we started, we wrote the EP, Ephemeral, our 3-song EP together, me, Mike, and Glenn. And then, the years went by, people came and went. We used to have 3 guitarists actually in the band. Our other guitarist.
Iron Maiden style.
Yeah, exactly. So it's perfect that that's back there. But yeah, we had an old guitarist, Logan, in the band. He was great, but, eventually we finished college. We all kind of did our own things, spread apart. And then Mike and I, we joined forces with Andrew here on bass. Andrew's friends with Dan over here who plays drums. And he's like, hey, I got a drummer, join in. And then Glenn eventually left the band because he's focusing on his job. He's a mechanic, and he loves his job. And he just got a house with his girlfriend or his fiance. So he's like, guys, start looking for another guitarist. And then Max actually found from a blog from like 2011, and this was 2017. Yeah.
The site BandMix works. It's just very delayed.
Yeah. So in 2017,
2011, I put that out.
Exactly. So Max found something that we put out. Hey, we're Deadtide's looking for a guitarist, and it was a 2011 post. And in 2017, he answered it. And I'm like, perfect timing because that's right when Glenn left the band. So it's kind of meant to be.
Because I first heard, I went on there and the song that you guys had that showed up was Stargazer Syndrome. So I checked it out. I started listening to it. I was like, damn, this is really good. Like, this is something I would listen to. Yeah, it was awesome. That's all it was about.
For me, it was Begin to Dream.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember I was like doing something at work on a Saturday because I was already in another band, but we weren't really doing a lot. And I listened to him like, dude, I texted Andrew. I'm like, I want to join. Like, the song's amazing.
Very nice. So the name Deadtide, kind of talk me through where that came from, how that came to be the name.
So, I mean, I love the beach. I lived there for 6 years. I think it was like more about that at one time, but it's kind of evolved with our own interests and what I like to write about in my lyrics. It's got like a little bit of a paranormal undertone to it, obviously. And then it's kind of like the afterlife or like another dimension where like, spirits walk kind of thing. Other consciousnesses dwell.
Interesting.
That kind of idea. So it's definitely, it's deeper than it sounds.
So the songwriting process for you guys, is that like a group effort? Is there like one songwriter among you, or do you all kind of like pitch in to do all that together?
Well, that's kind of how we formed. It was through my YouTube. I started YouTube in 2006. I started writing just like maybe a minute long riff, little guitar riff, little harmony, not really too many full songs until a few years went by. I started writing a few of my own little full songs, nothing band related. And then that's when, Mike found me on YouTube and, and then we met at college and then we decided, hey, let's get this going. And our actual full album now, some of it's new, but a lot of it is mostly my stuff from my YouTube. And if you find us on, if you look us up on YouTube, you can find from 2006 up until today, like everything I've been doing. And we kind of collaborated all my riffs and we went through some of my videos and we put some like old riffs from years ago, some newer riffs of mine, and we put it all together actually for the EP and for the full album, The Rabbit Hole, that we just recently released. But we're planning on writing another EP soon, and it's going to be more collaboration of the whole band, not just me. But, everyone's been saying to me for years, Phil, you have all this stuff on YouTube, make an album. What are you doing? You have a band now, come on. So everyone was, kicking me and I'm like, all right, let's do this, guys, let's do this. So we rounded up and went through all my videos and kind of just put everything together. And yeah, so for now, I'm the main songwriter. Max here, he kills it. He writes the solos. Dan kind of, I write little, dummy drums, little fake drums for the songs, but Dan, puts his own spin on it and kind of writes around what I wrote. And then, Andrew here kills it on the bass. And Mike, of course, does the lyrics. I'm really horrible with lyrics. I'm very generic when it comes to writing lyrics. So we depend on our boy Mike here to. Yeah. So.
Die.
Exactly. So, Mike's the man here with the lyrics, but, so it was nice. We all kind of worked together and we kind of we use our own, sense of, music style, and we kind of molded it all together with my riffs from YouTube.
Yeah, we're like really picky with things. So I'd say that like we kind of like cherry pick the best riffs, and kind of roll with that. I mean, because a lot, like most of the stuff that we write, it doesn't make it anywhere. Like we're very, very particular about the way that things sound. Sometimes we have to rework things. That's a big part of our band. I mean, we just kind of rework things until the song is like, we like it.
So as far as you've written the song now, production wise, do you guys do this all like in-house, or do you have like a studio you go to? What's the production like for your song?
Well, we started our EP Ephemeral. We went to actually Mount Vernon, New York. It was Primetime Sound. Unfortunately, rest in peace, the building doesn't exist anymore. They knocked it down, and, which is really sad because that's where Deadtide started. That's
Tarek's still going strong. He's out there somewhere.
Yeah, our first producer, Tarek Solangi. Tarek, if you watch this, you're the man. We love you. And he's the one, we reached out to him, and he's the one who recorded our first EP. So that's where our first sound came from. And Tarek did a great job. And but for the new album now, The Rabbit Hole, we actually went to our friends Sean and Dylan Whirl of Whirlybird Studios, and they really brought our stuff to life. They really helped with the background, the synthesizers and the piano and the keys, and they really just gave us that extra sound. Because we did do a demo in 2017. 3 of the songs that are on our full album now were from a 2017 demo that we did, and they just brought it completely to life. And so we did attempt, stuff from home, our computer from home and our gear from home. But, the full album, it was Whirlybird Studios, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. That's kind of our newest stuff.
Very nice. So for anyone who hasn't heard any of your music yet or doesn't know who Deadtide is, if you had to tell them one song of yours to listen to kind of hook them into being a fan of the band, what would you make them listen to?
The Rabbit Hole. That's me. I mean, I think that's the most insane thing I've ever done as far as a piece of art. What about you guys?
Hit me with your best shot.
I'd say Osmosis. I really like that song a lot. Like the was it 3/4 you wrote it in? Something 1, like 2, that.
Yes.
Like
that, I'm like counting.
I love I don't know. I really like the riffs in that a lot, and the overall everything. It goes, and then it has that part that changes. It's just, like it has like something for everybody in that song, kind of.
That's the paradigm shift. That's what it says actually in that passage.
Yeah, it is like something for everyone. You have like the whole flowy melody and then the harsh vocals.
I have to agree. Osmosis was a fun one.
Stargaze.
Yeah, if you want to be classic Deadtide, definitely Stargazer Syndrome.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Yeah, no, that's very true. So, there's Stargazer Syndrome on our EP Ephemeral, and then we actually re-recorded it for our full album, The Rabbit Hole. So you can hear Stargazer Syndrome new and improved, better than ever.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then as far as individual artists go, you guys as individual artists, who are some of your main influences?
As individuals?
Yes.
There's a lot.
Yeah, so I'll start off. I mean, I'm wearing an Alkaline Trio shirt. I don't listen to metal like I used to. I still love it. I like writing it a lot more now. But, I mean, my top favorite bands are In Flames, Blink-182, Metallica, Alkaline Trio. I'd probably say The Midnight at this point. So, like, I listen to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, The Midnight.
Hopefully it shows in the music,
Synthwave.
in the vocals.
Mhm.
Everyone
you
else?
guys?
I actually listen to a lot of power metal, if anybody knows what that is.
Of course they do. WSOU, you silly.
On WSOU, yeah.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of power metal, like more so the newer bands. There's this one band in particular I get like a lot of my like leads and melodies from is Twilight Force, because I think that guitarist he writes some of the most unique stuff like ever. And yeah, Twilight Force, Angro. A lot of people probably heard of Angro. And those are like my main two influences, like Kiko's South American style and Angro, and then that whole Swedish metal mixed with like classical music style.
Very nice.
Yeah, for me, I started off, I was kind of a late bloomer with melodic style metal. As I Lay Dying, In Flames, August Burns Red, Trivium, Dark Tranquility, Scar Symmetry, Solution 45. I can go on and on, but basically a lot of the European, Swedish melodic death metal or metalcore, songs and artists have really got me into this different style. I started listening to, when I was a kid, I listened to a lot of punk and Green Day, The Offspring, Blink-182, just like Mike. We have a very similar kind of punk.
Yeah, punk got us into metal, I'd say. Then it went to thrash. You know what I mean? You're just like, what's faster? What's harder? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's funny because like at a certain point, then you kind of like rolled it back and you're just like, you know what? I kind of like some chiller stuff now.
Yeah,
a mix of everything.
Sometimes you gotta reset your brain every now and then because you're listening to the same stuff over and over and over, and eventually it's like, you know what? That stuff's great, but I need a little break. Hey, this band is amazing. I'm listening to now. I'm gonna listen to these guys. Or hey, like there's a new punk album, or hey, there's a new pop punk album. Hey, there's a reggae album. Something where it just kind of changes your perspective, and it gives you more to the songs that you write. And it's just such a beautiful thing.
Well, I would say the cool thing is we all have we all like In Flames and the same hard metal bands, but like Max is into power metal. Mike likes more like the poppy stuff. Not saying that's all he listens to, but he listens to metal too. And then me, I'm into like mainstream hard rock and like mainstream metal. And then Andrew's kind of like a mix. I would say that we like pretty much the same bands. Yeah.
Also very similar to Phil with any of the Swedish or Finnish death metal bands. Iron Maiden is actually my favorite band, so I draw the inspiration from them as well.
And then as a band as a whole, who would you say like your number one influence has been, if you could kind of say one main influence for the band as a whole?
In Flames.
Yeah.
You gotta give it up to them. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, oh, you guys sound like In Flames, but they're like, the cool thing is about that is that people don't just say, oh, you guys like are a carbon copy of In Flames. They're like, you sound like the style of In Flames, but the cool thing about you guys, the cool thing about Deadtide is you still have your own unique sound.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps us going.
What we always wanted, that's kind of the dream.
We don't want to be in anyone's shadow. We love In Flames. We love Trivium. We love August Burns Red. We love the melodic style metal, As I Lay Dying, stuff like that, Switch Engage. But we don't want to be just a carbon copy, cookie cutter band. We want to have our own style, but it's like, hey, I'm kind of familiar with this, but hey, Deadtide took a nice spin on that, and their riffs are cool, and I love.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we sneak in there and people don't notice, but they end up loving it, and it's kind of cool because it's like a challenge. Because you know how like metalheads can be. I used to be an elitist myself, but to be able to sneak it in there, and then people are like, oh my god, like that's really good or whatever. And you're like, ah, like I was like, you know, that was like a little Michael Jackson influence or something. You know what I mean? It could be anything. You know, oh yeah, that was Lady Gaga. Like,
it's cool because you have like In Flames, and then we'll have a song Alteration that like pretty much has one chorus. It doesn't repeat.
Yeah, that's a
And
big
then-
thing in like in my personal like style for like writing.
And it starts with a King Diamond scream where like, what the hell is this? And obviously people that like that are like, damn, I love it. And then it goes into the typical metal, has a little tiny breakdown in there. So it's like, and then we'll have a typical metal song like The Great Unknown, Begin the Dream, which is like, you know, screaming, singing in choruses, like typical, you know.
I don't know whose Baja Blast this is. But
That's yours. That's yours, bud.
But yeah, we like to mix it up and have different styles, and that's just what we try to do. We don't want to just be like, hey, let's write this riff, now let's harmonize this riff, and then let's just have a chorus and a verse, chorus, an outro. Like, we kind of write our songs unique. We don't really do I mean, maybe a few songs here and there.
Yeah, just for, you know, like it's classic. You know, you
Yeah.
can't go wrong with that classic song structure.
Yeah.
But like when you have that extra time and stuff,
Yeah.
it's nice to just sneak a completely different chorus in there.
Yeah.
If you like, that's one thing. If I find that I like two choruses, like when, you know, that I'm singing or that I've demoed out before we go into the studio, then like, I mean, that's how Stargazer Syndrome was born. You know, like it's stuff like that.
No rules, just do it.
That's pretty much it. And that's something with us, yeah, that I would say with Deadtide is like expect the unexpected. You know, we're not gonna like limit ourselves, I guess. You know, like I don't think we're gonna make the same album again the next time we go in there.
No, it's gonna be a little different.
Yeah, I think it's gonna evolve nicely.
And it will be
about-
Tide.
Sell out.
Talking about expecting the unexpected, metal shows can be kind of insane. So do you guys have like any crazy stories from any of your shows? Any fun, crazy stories?
There was a funny one. There was a place, Clash Bar, rest in peace. That place was awesome. We played there like once, back in 2016. And we're just like singing or whatever, and just like, smells really good out there, like in between songs. Like, what is that? Like someone had something that smelled phenomenal, some kind of food or whatever, and some guy comes up and he starts feeding me. Well, in between the song, what else have we done?
Went up on stage with Unearth, crowd surfing.
Oh yeah, dingbats.
Yeah.
Crowd surfing and dingbats and screaming with Trevor for a sec.
Yeah.
You know.
Spraying Lysol everywhere.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's right. Yeah, when COVID first started, we all got it from our show. We're all still standing somehow, but the funny part was just like I walked in there with like Lysol, with hand sanitizer, with toilet paper. Remember that toilet paper shortage? Absolutely bizarre. So I put all this stuff in a bag and I walk in there and Michelle's like, "You're ridiculous." Like she just like, I'm not gonna say what she said to me because it's the radio and we can't say it. But I just like, I was like, you know what? Like, let's at least like make this funny. Because this may be the last show we're playing in a little bit, you know what I mean? Who knows what's going on? So there was a death metal band. Who was it?
Pathology?
Oh,
It was one of them.
The COVID night. The COVID
Yes,
night sounds terrible.
that's what I'm saying. COVID night. It's a new metal song, COVID night.
Pathology, yeah. When you were spraying, dude, they were laughing on stage. We got the video.
Yeah, there's a video of me moshing with a Lysol can, just letting it rip. And like, yeah, it was great. It's on, where's it, TikTok or something?
yeah.
It's on TikTok. I don't. Did we ever put that on Instagram? We should have.
I think so. I think I
Did we?
first saw it.
Yeah, do it for Throwback
If
Thursday.
we didn't, yeah, we'll do a hashtag TBT for that one. But that was fun.
Talking about COVID has been really hard on artists kind of everywhere, and I imagine it's been really hard on local bands as well. So how have you guys kind of maintained like your sanity and also just kind of kept your band alive through this? Did you rely like super heavily on social media? Like what did this past year as like a whole look like for you guys?
Helped us bring our album together. We were kind of like wrapping up loose ends on that. I think it made it take a little bit longer, ironically, but
Yeah, we had some ups and downs.
it was a weird year for like everyone, and that definitely like played into that. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a very back and forth kind of thing. So we took advantage of that time to wrap up the album. I was working on some other musical stuff in the back. other styles and whatnot. Just keep them busy, really. I mean, there was such a great opportunity for bands to be able to sit down and write, you know what I mean, or try something new, like live streaming. Like a lot of people had just never tried it before. Back in 2016, 2017, we got those little 360 cameras on our droids, or our Android phones. You plugged it into the bottom, and it created like a virtual reality thing. So essentially, I would mount my phone and the camera to my mic stand, so you could see both perspectives. You could see my perspective and like the audience's perspective. It's pretty cool. So like it's a good time to experiment with technology, and do stuff that they haven't done before. You know, we always recommend setting up like crowdfunding pages and stuff. You know what I mean? Because it sometimes it's, you know, it could do anything for a band. You know, it could help them through a hard time, or it could be more of a like give you that push over the edge where like you take your, you know, like let's say a music video to the next level. It helped us tremendously being able to like afford the rest of it on top of everything else, because we're always trying to make the best thing possible. But I think that was a major thing. What do you guys think?
My life kind of sucked during COVID because my job, I worked at FedEx, so everybody's ordering everything ever, and everyone's moving. All the people that moved from New York City, a lot of people moved to Kingston. I'm like not too far from Kingston, and so every day we're just flooded with a few extra 1,000 packages. I shouldn't say a few, a lot. Extra thousands of packages every day. And I had to get up.
Were you just guys chucking at each other? Like, how did you
much.
keep up with it?
You had to go as fast as possible. I mean, it doesn't even matter because by the time the trucks have to leave, they're late every day. And at one point they were behind months on packages. It was just insane. And I was in the middle of that, having to mess with it. I'm just glad I don't work there anymore. But it was crazy. And I still like, I would go on trails almost every week just to keep myself like doing something. I got a bike and I would ride trails every week.
Oh yeah.
So I was sane
The
enough.
stimmies helped afford things.
Oh yeah, they gave us our own money back. What a concept.
Yeah.
So we've
I have to say
mentioned,
that.
we've
It was
mentioned the
important
new
that we did
album,
during COVID.
Blue Rabbit Hole, a couple times now. That came out the end of last month, the end of May. What are your own favorite songs off that album?
Rabbit Hole, yeah, definitely the Rabbit Hole.
Osmosis, obviously.
Yeah,
So
for me,
we're excited
for me,
about that one
Osmosis.
next.
So
Yeah.
good.
Relentless is a great one too. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to get, the blood flowing and just you want to just charge, into battle.
Go
Relentless.
watch the video, yeah.
Yeah. We just.
I'm gonna play that
Oh
on
yeah.
play that on my way to Medieval Times next weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like our war themed song. We actually just did when we released the album, we released our lyric video for Relentless, and it's awesome. It's really cool. We spent some time, we got some stock footage of the war scenes, World War I, World War II. We got some old school knights and stuff like that, bow and arrow stuff. Like it's just kind of a mix of everything, the way it is. If you listen to the song, you listen to the lyrics, you'll kind of see why we chose to kind of incorporate all eras of war, and it's just a one thing like put together.
Because it's the concept is essentially like, we've been fighting depression and all kinds of stuff like that, and darker forces that kind of influence us since the dawn of time. It's just been this ongoing war, and so like to include things from every era just made a lot of sense, because the way that I originally imagined it was something like World War II with all like the machine guns and like the tanks and stuff like that, but like with like Lord of the Rings. Like, remember the ring wraiths? Like that's kind of what I envisioned, and like you could see it. Like it's really cool. We did tarot cards for like each song, so each song got its own artwork by his friend Dachel, an amazingly talented artist.
Yeah, Dachel, we love you, man. Thank you for all your hard work.
Look
We're
him
working
up.
on getting the album out, the physical album. We're working on it. So it's taken a little extra time because we wanted to get the digital songs, the digital album out first, because people have been waiting. I mean, it's been rough. 2020 was a hell of a year. I lost some family during the year. It was some bad times for me. it was hard for me to focus on kind of getting things done. I lost my job. I lost a lot of stuff in 2020 until the end, all the way up to December, including my father. So it was really tough for me, and it kind of hindered a little bit on getting things done. But I was like, you know what? The songs are done. Let's get everything out, and then we'll just release the artwork and release the physical album a little bit later down the line. So we're hoping, you know, maybe by the end of July, early August, the latest, you know, we'll definitely have the physical CDs out, and we're going to basically make a second album announcement about the physical CDs, because it's exciting. You know, we spent a lot of time, Rachel, our artist, spent a lot of time.
We have 13 albums for the artwork.
Yeah,
it's like
beautiful.
We're
artwork.
very detail oriented when it comes to being musicians, artists, and stuff. I know I am. Like, I overthink everything. So it's like, you know, get a strike of balance in there somewhere, but there's so much of it, like, that it was like just such a huge task. It took months to put together, and kind of like the back and forth between us. It's definitely, I can't wait for it to show everyone it. Like, there's so much cool artwork.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
Well, you guys are obviously a big local name. You've even made yourselves into WSOU regular rotation. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Do you guys have any advice for any local bands that might be aiming to the Deadtide level?
Work your ass off. I mean, it's really that. It's not something that happens overnight. I mean, that's such a rare thing to, like, an audience. Like, if you see someone like they think of the biggest name in pop or whatever, and it seems like, you know, like all of a sudden you're hearing about them. That took years to get to that place. Yeah. You know, so it's not. It's like building a business. It's the same thing. You really have to put in years worth of work in order to see a return. You know, unless you're, you know, you form a super group or you already have your name out there, like as a band member, and you do like a side project. I mean, you already have a platform, but like as a local band, like, you have to create your own platform and work with other bands to build a platform together. You know what I mean? You put each other on shows, you know, your fans intermingle and stuff. I mean, it's the classic stuff mixed with the digital era. Now, I mean, social media is, every year changes so much. You know, it's just like the results are just different than what they used to be. So now it's, the algorithms have changed a lot.
Those darn algorithms.
Yeah. So, essentially, it's kind of more of a quantity over quality, it feels like sometimes, and which is a shame, because I feel like we're more of a quality over quantity kind of thing as Deadtide. But you really just have to keep like pushing, and you know, when your stuff comes out, like, you have to promote it to people. You have to tell people, individual people, and this is out, you know, go over here and like it, because news feeds are very passive. You know, so like, who are you really reaching? And it doesn't really kind of hold an accountability on the other end, where it's like, you know, you're talking to someone person to person. You know, you reach out to your friend and say, hey, you know, people don't mind taking like 15 seconds out of their time just to go over to YouTube, which they're most likely already signed in on the app, and just, you know, put some nice words about it, you know?
Okay, so as we wrap this up, you were talking about you got to promote yourself. Is there anything you guys want to plug as far as like social medias, upcoming shows, releases, anything you want the people to know about? Basically, all you got to do is just Google Deadtide. One word, Deadtide, that's us, and you'll find our YouTube, you'll find our Instagram, basically everything. So I think Twitter's probably the only different one. That's Deadtide Metal. So twitter.com/Deadtide Metal. Basically everything else is Deadtide.
Or at Deadtide/Deadtide. I mean, we're very, very easy to find. I mean, that was a big part of the strategy too, is you need to be easy to find. You know, if that's another one for bands. If you make like a generic name or something, like the only one that's coming to mind is Genesis. Like, I mean, they're from a long time ago, but say you put that like in there, like, I mean, people are going to be finding Genesis in the Bible, like for years before they ever find your band, you know? So just make it easy to find. That's it. You know, make everything as easy as possible for someone on the other end.
Anything else? You guys got any shows coming up? You were talking about the physical albums coming out soon, but you guys have any like shows, music videos, Anything else for the people?
Well, yeah, I said earlier, yeah, our Relentless video, lyric video for Relentless came out at the end of May, so go check that out.
The Rabbit Hole music video.
The Rabbit Hole music video
Yes.
actually came out Christmas of 2020. I mean, obviously, most of us had a horrible year 2020, so we figured, hey, let's give an awesome Christmas gift to everybody. We worked really hard on that music video. We actually rented out a mansion in Connecticut, beautiful place, Chetstone Mansion. Look it up; it's absolutely gorgeous. And we went over there, and we got a production team.
How
and
did we
everybody,
find it?
Through you, sir.
Yeah, well, kind of like, yeah, there's Gothic mansion. I was like, imagine if we shot this music video here. It was just black and gold. It was.
And what did I say right after that? Why are we imagining?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's
So
go.
I Googled the caption, which wasn't even like English. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's another language, whatever. Let's put it in Google. Let's see what comes up. So this place, Chetstone Mansion Manor, whatever.
Yeah, Chetstone.
One or the other. So it came up and I'm like, huh. I sent it to him and I was like, yo, this is what came up for it. It's definitely not the same place. And he's like, dude, it's in Connecticut and there are rabbits in the attic.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Painted
about that.
on the
That's
walls,
crazy.
like the ceiling. Oh, it was,
Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah.
Everything came together because, you know, the album is called The Rabbit Hole, and you know, it's a whole concept album with everything.
That's like, there's like a lot of spirituality in there. There's a lot of big esoteric. There are a lot of secrets in the lyrics and all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's
what was I
very
gonna
based
say?
on that. And so
Um,
when we see something aligning like that, like it's pretty exciting. Like the owner's name is Alice
Mhm.
on top of everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of Alice in Wonderland influence in there. Like it was never intended to be that way, but like, you know, obviously one's brain would go there.
Yeah.
It's that I'd say mixed with like the Matrix. I think would be a cool way to say it. Has a lot to do with 2020 and all kinds of things that are coming to light, things that humanity didn't understand or know, and a lot of people actually did, but you know, you have to kind of come to that realization and finally become conscious of it, and then your whole world changes, and it's pretty spectacular.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for making some awesome music for us to play on Street Patrol and WSOU. Anything else you guys want to add before we say goodnight?
Thanks so much for having us. This has
Yeah,
been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity. We've been listening to you guys for years. This is awesome, and we really hope to keep in touch with you guys. And we got our merch girl, actually Dan's fiance. She's going to be actually mailing you guys merch. We got a tank tops, male and female tank tops. We got a regular Deadtide shirt, and we got a Deadtide hoodie. And she's going to be mailing it over to you guys soon. I was in touch with Liam for a while. I know we're speaking with you, Rylee, and this is awesome. And thank you so much for interviewing us. But yeah, Liam gave us the address to WSOU. We'll be sending over the merch. So we'd love for you guys to do some giveaways with our stuff, and we'd love to maybe do another interview in the near future again. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, yes. It'll be nice to get bands back in the studio once we can. So we'll definitely keep in touch with you guys. And thank you so much for sending us that stuff. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.